Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor. I'm Michael Pachter, your host. For our Patreon patrons and YouTube subscribers, we really appreciate your support. You're getting this real time, and that's because you are paying Shane and he wants to reward you. If you are doing either of those or not, please remember to link your Twitch account and your Amazon account. So it's Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime. You have to follow the instructions in the show description below. It's pretty easy to do, a couple of clicks. If you haven't done it in a while, please renew it because it does expire after a couple of months. And we get paid. It costs you absolutely nothing. Let's get to today's question from Patreon, from Jordan Cohen. Sony just canceled another 2 live service games, go figure, including Bluepoint's God of War live service game and another from Sony Bend. It has now canceled 8 of its 12 known live service games. What is the immediate fallout and long-term impact for such a huge mistake? Will people be fired? Wow. How much will it affect available software for PS5 and PS6 in the future? You know, I think that Sony manages by hindsight. So Sony looks at what worked and assumes that that will work now and forever. And they were looking at games like Grand Theft Auto with GTA Online and FIFA with Ultimate Team and Call of Duty with Warzone and said, oh, we can do that. Let's just do a bolt-on live service and we'll get in-app purchases and subscription and ongoing and, it's not real subscription, season passes. And we can do that with any game. And the fact that I named those first few games so easily is because there are only a few of them that actually work. Live services is hard to pull off. It's a great idea, really hard to do. Free-to-play games, which are all live service obviously, work. But when you buy a game like Call of Duty or FIFA or Grand Theft Auto, you expect a lot of content because you paid $70. And it's really hard to get people to pay for ongoing live services. It works if you have a single player game, and I would say FIFA is pretty much a single player game. It's not called FIFA anymore, I know. GTA is definitely a single player game. And you add a multiplayer experience, and so FIFA is like, fantasy football, fantasy soccer manager. That works. GTA Online is multiplayer, and GTA standalone is not. Call of Duty is the one exception, and to be honest, Activision did not think it would work. And they tried something called Blackout that was behind the paywall, like GTA Online is behind the paywall, and it didn't work. Warzone worked because they moved it from behind the paywall to in front of the paywall, and that became free, and people liked it, and that caused more people to buy Call of Duty. So it's a real balancing act to get your live service content to integrate with your paid content and to keep the consumer happy, like he feels like he's not being screwed. And Sony, pretty consistently with its live service efforts, has left consumers feeling screwed. I don't know how to explain it any better than that because, to be fair, I haven't played, I don't think, any of the Sony live service games. They just don't appeal to me. And to be honest, I am the king of single player. I love single player games. That's pretty much all I play. And I am really antisocial in my gaming behavior, and I really don't want to play with other people. So live services requires somebody who plays single player games to like multiplayer, and it's just a difficult balancing act. It's hard to pull off. I liked playing back in the day, and I haven't played since 2006, World of Warcraft, because I like the collaborative nature, of a dungeon raid. But I don't want to play player versus player. I don't want to go shoot other people. Like, I'm not good at it. It's not fun. I did it. I played Overwatch for a while. I was like a Reinhardt tank or something because I'm a slug and I'm slow and I don't react well. But I get the strategy of the game and I know how to get in the way and I know how to help my teammates. So, fun, but not that fun. Didn't keep me going. And so I think Sony is just not good at multiplayer. They never have been. I mean, you could probably name 1 or 2 games that they made that were, but I can't think of any. I mean, Last of Us and Uncharted and God of War, they're just not multiplayer games. So I almost, you could say this about Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto. They were not a multiplayer studio, but they figured it out. FIFA didn't figure it out. They ripped off got IDOS, I think, the football manager concept, and they just made it, a free-to-play bolt-on as, behind the paywall of FIFA, and it worked. So they kind of copied the formula, but it is hard to do. And so when you call this, Jordan, when you call this a mistake, a huge mistake, it is a huge mistake. And it shows you that the people running Sony games, Sony computer entertainment, aren't very good at figuring out how to do things. They're fast followers, but they followed with the wrong content, and that's like saying Marvel makes superhero movies and they work, therefore DC can do it, and so far not very many. Some work. It's not the same. I don't know how to say it. I mean, like, some of the content lends itself to it. Batman works and Superman works, but Catwoman doesn't, and so I think Sony is very much a follower. I don't think they're all that creative on the multiplayer side. I think that they see franchises like Call of Duty generating $1 billion from a year from the bolt-on content, and they're like, we can do it too, and they can't. And I think the right way to do it is to hire people who know how to do it, and they don't do that either. So the guy running the studio, who is Herman Hulst, who is running the company, who's really smart. His claim to fame is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a great game, but is it a multiplayer live service game? Nope. I mean, they don't have people internally who do that. And I'm sure you'll find somebody they hired who worked on Call of Duty or one of the others, but no, So I don't think a company can just say, here we are, any more in live service than they can in mobile. And how's Sony Mobile working? It's not. So they're different skill sets. It's like making a movie versus making a serialized television show, that goes on for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. Look at The Simpsons. That's been on for 25 years, like 35 years. It's hard to do stuff like that. By the way, Matt Groening used to be my neighbor when I lived in Palisades. So he probably lost his house. I haven't read about that yet, but I bet he did. He created The Simpsons. Anyway, so I will people be fired? It's Sony. They're Japanese. You know who gets fired? Anybody who turns 60. So, Shuyo Yoshida retired. I mean, Jim, whatever the hell his name is. What's his last name? Ryan. I was sorry to say O'Hara. Jim Ryan's gone. Like, I don't know. Like, no, it's Sony. No, they don't talk to anybody. They can do no wrong. They don't care. I know you guys think I'm an X-bot. Everybody does dumb things. Sony's just been especially dumb lately. So, no, I'm really kind of glad. I hope that if anything, I hope they get off this live service kick. I don't care if they don't make multiplayer games. Like I said, I love single-player games. And to be honest with you, Concord is a good example. Was a pretty good multiplayer game, but they tried to sell it to you. And then they tried to charge you to keep playing it. It's like, no, make that game as free-to-play all the way. And they just botched it from the beginning. So you asked if people get fired. You know who got fired? The Concord studio. Did they screw up? No. Sony management screwed up. Whoever greenlit that and thought that was a good idea should be fired. But no, let's just shut the studio down. That's what happened. So, I think Sony is really good at never taking responsibility or blame for anything that they do wrong and blaming the studio and shutting it down. They've been doing that a lot lately. And so, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying Microsoft is any better. You know who's good? Nintendo. They know what they're doing. They don't have live service games. Maybe they will someday. They know how to make games. They don't fire anybody. They keep the studios productive and happy, and they just keep churning out great content. And I think that lasts for a while. That's it for today's Pachter Factor. If you are a Patreon patron, thank you. If you are a YouTube subscriber, thank you. If you are doing that or not, please remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There are instructions on how to do that in the show description below, and you have to re-up that every couple of months. So if you haven't done it in a while, please do it again. Check out the show description and you'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly. Follow me on Blue Sky at Michael Pachter, maybe on Twitter. I'm not sure if I'm going to post in either place anytime soon. But anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful new year, and I will see you guys next time.